I'd like to introduce Isabelle Zablit. She's the Director for Europe and International Digital Health at the French Ministry of Health. We have then Mario Jandrosek, the European Affairs Lead of the Health Data Hub, Dr. François Roucou, the IT Director of the University Hospital of Charleroi in Belgium, and Guillaume Bernard is an expert in the assessment of AI systems at LNE, the National Laboratory of Metrology and Testing. So if you are here today, I assume that you agree on the benefit for the secondary use of data, and we are of course all aware of the challenges raised by the implementation of the European framework to ensure a wider use and sharing of health data. So today I would like you to see also the opportunities that we have in Europe to develop AI tools and to wider use health data. So I will thus let the floor to Isabelle to speak about the European health data space and its regulation.
Thank you very much, Marie. Well, the latest news, I'm afraid I won't be able to share with you because we have a negotiation process underway and the negotiation itself is not public. However, can bring you the vision that we are looking for. First of all, the context. We have, in fact, here an opportunity to build the first European data space. It's part of the European I would say digital strategy in general, so it's not a strategy which is actually focused on health. The Commission has announced that they will implement a series of data spaces by sector, and health, which is probably not the most easy one, let's say, has been selected as the first data space to be implemented. And this implementation itself is already underway. So that means that we are not waiting for the regulation to pave the way for this vision. And from a very factual basis, the works have started many years ago, in fact, back in 2008. And with the cross-border healthcare directive in 2011, we had the first legal framework to work with. That has led to the first governance body for digital health in Europe. So this first body was created with this directive, and it's called the eHealth Network for those who are not yet familiar with it. This network is producing guidelines by use case for primary use first. And we have already an infrastructure in place that has been implemented by the Commission. 13 countries so far have opened a national contact point for health on that infrastructure, and France back in 2021 with a first use case which is not well known yet. It's the fact that healthcare professional can access the patient summary of EU citizen they are taking care of course, with the consent of the patient, and they actually have access to both the original document and the translated version in French, which is a major progress for the quality of care and the continuum of care of patients. So we are delivering, in fact, new services for healthcare professionals and citizens. So the vision is to implement more use cases, and I'm very happy to confirm that yesterday we got the green light of the Commission for the financing of a major next step in France, which is the exchange of e-prescription at EU level, meaning that by 2026, if everything goes well, we'll be able to accept e-prescription for EU citizens in any pharmacy in France. To get the medicines being delivered, and the other way around, meaning that a French citizen traveling abroad will be able to use the e-prescription currently under implementation in France in any other connected country. So this is in broad lines what we are doing for. For the secondary use of data, Mario is much accurate than me to speak about it, but basically it's the same principle, a shared infrastructure with national contact point, and but that one is not yet implemented. So this is a long journey. We are underway. We have already 13 countries on board, and by 2027, if everything goes well again, we'll have 30 countries.
Thank you, Isabelle, for these insights, and it's a very nice introduction. So now I would like to hear Mario about the secondary use of data, and especially the pilot project, Health Data at EU.
Yes, thanks a lot, and hello everyone. Very, very happy to be here today with you. As far as the secondary use is concerned, as Isabelle has already mentioned, it's also covered by the proposed EHDS regulation, and so we're very keen on seeing the negotiations being finished and being able to start to implement. As of course, in the pilot project, the Health Data at EU pilot project, we actually try out certain aspects of the regulation already to see what works, where we face challenges, and how to foresee more long-term implementation. So I think the game changer on the secondary use part is really that we have a governance framework which will apply across the EU. So it will be able, or anyone in the EU will be able to request access to health data with a certain harmonized set of conditions across the EU, be it individual researchers, be it startups, be it companies, and they will be able to access if they are granted access by the relevant authorities. And so this will enable tomorrow research projects involving data from several countries much more easily than what we have today. So we have in the pilot project 5 concrete such projects, and we see it takes a tremendous amount of time and effort to get access in all of those countries. And so the complementary part to that in the pilot is we try to develop a few first services that can be useful to those researchers and innovators, which is a common European metadata catalog based on a common standard and a common access application form, so that one only has to fill it out once and not for every single country. And so these services are based or will be based on a common IT infrastructure, as Isabelle has set out, which will allow the national competent bodies to exchange information between them and also with the European Commission Central Services. So I think for the pilot, we try out, we learn, we start to implement, but then once the regulation actually applies, there will be much more work, more services to develop, and so looking forward to that.
Thank you, Mario. So now about services also, let's move to another project with François. So François, you are a medical doctor and software engineer, and you are involved in the TEF Health project. So you are the leader of the Belgium hub and in charge of the physical testing. So could you tell us a bit more about the TEF Health and your role in the project?
Okay, I hope everybody hears me. So I will try to explain what the TEF is. So it's an European initiative whose objective is in fact to close the gap in the innovation chain for health, AI and robotics by setting up and providing access to physical and virtual testing and experimentation centers through all the Europa. And that centers can be dedicated research centers or hospitals. That's the idea. In fact, our initiatives, so focused on health, started in January 2023. It will be financed for a duration of 5 years, but after that, the idea is that the TEF be sustainable enough and so autonomous to continue. Today we have a comfortable budget of 60 million euros, financed half by the European Union and by the states. And the idea is to gather around 50 partners from all the Europe. And in fact, 50 partners means about 200 people. So it's a quite huge team involved. And some of the partners have indeed a great reputation in the health scientific domain. Like, for example, we have partners from Hôpital La Charité in Berlin. We have partners in the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm. And of course, a partner of LNE in Paris. So great quality. And the goal of the TEF, as I said, is to provide this facility. So if we consider the steps to bring a scientific or a technical product from the idea to a real product, we have a lot of stages. You have very preliminary stage like the ideation stage, the research stage, and data and knowledge gathering, for example, for training algorithms. And in fact, the TEF is not focused on that phase. So that's not the idea, but we came after that because when you have your idea and we have developed a concept, you have some phase of validation, testing, and certification. So for validation, you will use data to drive and validate the concept. You will test your solution and see if it works as intended. And at the end, you will need to certify it to bring the solution to the patient and the caregivers. And that's the idea of the TEF, is to help the SMEs and the big companies in that kind of steps, yes, to facilitate the reach to the market.
Thank you. Now I will just give the floor to Guillaume to close the loop on how important it is to have access to data, to develop robust and reliable AI tools. So, Guillaume, you are working for the French hub, for the TEF, and especially on the virtual testing. So could you tell a bit more?
Sorry, I'm a little sick. Hi, everyone. So, yeah, I'm both leading the French hub and also the virtual testing services. So it's like a twin part of the work with what François is doing on the physical testing. So we have this separation of services. Mostly virtual testing relate to data set simulation. So how do you test your AI systems with a data set, and physical brings the AI really on the physical test bed, clinical trials, and so on. So about the importance of data, what I wanted to add about what François just said just now is that the TEF, one of the main objectives, one of the main goals of the TEF project is to help SMEs and startups to deal with all the regulation aspect, the certification aspect that is coming. You must be mostly aware, at least I think, that regulation on the European level is coming, the AI Act. I don't know yet in which years the regulation will finally be published, but it will come. And for an SME and the startups, it can be quite a hard task to understand the general regulation, the certification. For instance, if I am an SME, I am developing an AI product, a systems. I know that I need to evaluate them. I have if I'm in the health domain, I know that there's already certification, regulation regarding to medical devices, but I don't know how does it relate to AI. I have a general idea. So the TEF project is here to bring services, both physical and virtual, to help PME and startups to prepare the systems for the regulation. And to relate to the data, to the data aspect, we know that AI systems are kind of hard to explain why they decide why they do some prediction, why they have some decisions, because they are black box, because they are non-linear. If you change a little the data, it can have a huge impact on the systems. And so on the importance of data, you need to have good source of data, qualified data. So what that means is you have understand the influence factors you have in data. You know if your data has bias. You know how to correct that. But it's an expertise that not everyone has. And what the TEF project brings is partners with their services, for instance, experts in the medical domain that will provide new source of data. And as we know, in the health domain, it can be quite hard to have data. It's quite regulated. It's quite often the dataset is quite small in size, and the TEF project can help SMEs, startups, to have new source of data and several different source of data, because we know that if you only, for instance, have data from one hospital, it can be quite, it can have some bias regarding when you will produce your systems on a national level, or on an European level, and that's what the TEF project is trying to do, at least. Thank you.
Very clear, thanks. So I have now questions, because it's really related. The two projects are really different, of course, but then we will see the importance to be able to have access to data. So I have a question for Isabelle and Mario on the European as data space. So to your opinion, what will be the main positive impact on the regulation and its implementation? For example, is it more about the data culture to be able to also explain to patients, to citizens, that the sharing of data is important, or maybe to improve the trust towards the AI tools, for example? What do you think?
Well, I think Mario will complete, but Mario used the right word when taking the floor. He referred to a game changer, and I believe that the regulation is really a game changer that will have very positive impact on all aspects. Indeed, the regulation will make the exchange of data and the European scale mandatory, and this is why this is a game changer, because we are building, in fact, the name is reflecting, in fact, the project, the European Health Data Space. So it's really about that. So it will be a game changer for the citizen, with new services that citizen, even if they are not formalizing the ID, they are expecting, in fact, those citizens, those services, sorry. They don't understand why being in Europe, traveling in Europe, you can't use the health data in the next country. And a side effect is that it will also bring the interoperability, because we are referring to that, of course, at national level. In France, we have a quite centralized country. However, we still have a lot of huge issues regarding interoperability. But look at the countries that are much more decentralized, with regional health systems that do not speak to each other. So this is, for the citizen in general, for the European citizen, a game changer. It's a game changer also for the companies that are in the that are the service providers of health data-related services, I would say, to be broad, as we are starting a journey of convergence of requirements. I mean, it will be a long journey. I'm not referring to a 5 or 10 years term, but over the long term, you are putting everybody on a convergent journey, which is something that companies, I believe, do expect. And the third thing is that I will leave the secondary use of data to Mario, of course. But the third aspect is the healthcare also professionals that will have a direct, easy, free of charge access to health data of the patient, again, with the consent of the patient, of course. So, I mean, it's a win-win game, so to say.
Thanks. Mario, you want to add something?
Yeah, on the secondary use part, I think what we all hope is that well, the regulation also pursuing some legislation that is already in place in France will enable Europe to be a place where innovative solutions in the field of medicine and human health are developed using the innovative tools that we today have, be it AI tools, be it developments of personalized medicine, etc. And so for that, the whole pipeline of governance and conditions of use is really the foundation, and Isabel said it will be made mandatory, so hopefully we will be able to speed up the access to data where it is needed and for projects that are in the interest of everyone. So we think that having competitive timelines, and there will be the at least one enabling factor for Europe to be center stage for that and not to fall behind, and not to use only AI solutions and other tools developed elsewhere.
Thank you. I just take also the opportunity to announce that the EHDS think tank this year was about the implementation of the European as data space. So we will, in a couple of weeks, we'll release 2 reports, one on the French inputs, so you participate to the roundtable, of course, and another one, a pan-European report with all the contributions of at least 10 countries over Europe. So also to have the opinion and the point of view of different countries that are more regionalized, for example. So stay tuned if you are interested by the subject. So I just want to give again the floor to François and Guillaume. So for you, for the TEF Health, what are the next steps and what kind of maybe synergies do you see with other initiatives at European, national or regional levels?
In fact, the next steps are what we are doing today and tomorrow. So we are working on setting up all that services. And what we want in the TEF is to provide not what we call atomic services, so services provided only by one partner, but synergistic services. So services, pan-European services that combine the offers of different partners. And in fact, it's indeed a challenge to reach that, because each partners in country live in a specific context in terms of resources, financing, and so on. So it's a challenge, but that's what we do now. To provide that catalog of services, and also that catalog will be put accessible on single point of access on the platforms to help the SMEs and the big company to discover the different services and choose wisely what they need in the TEF.
Okay. Guillaume?
Thank you, François. What I can add on that, as François said, we are currently setting up mostly services on a national level, partner by partners. And the next challenge is really how do we collaborate between partners? Because whether it is on the national level or on the European level, we have different expertise. For instance, at LNE, we are our expertise in the assessment, evaluation of AI systems. We do not have any experience in producing data, for instance, on the health domain. So we want to work with partners that are from CHU, hospitals, Carolinstadt, Charleroi, for instance, or La Charité, and try to define when we are contacted or when we contact SMEs or startups, do not offer our service, but trying to do collaboration between partners. For instance, we have SMEs with an AI system, and we will say, all right, LNE will take in charge the assessment of your systems, your analysis of your performance, but we will work, for instance, with Charleroi, or for instance, with La Charité. We will provide the corpus, the analysis of data, the qualification of data, and for instance, after evaluating your AI system on a data set, we will evaluate it on a physical test bed, a clinical trial, and so on. And that's what we are currently trying to do. It's a challenge, but we'll manage.
Yes, the idea to have like a very integrated services, even if the partners are
exactly.
Localized in different countries. Okay, So we are out of time now. So many thanks for the fruitful discussions. So I hope that we convinced you that there are huge opportunities according these two projects and the use of data. So thank you again for you four for your participation, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.